Hi, I'm Sherry Torres, and I'm here with Jackie Stavros and Dr. Elizabeth Warner. Jackie and I wrote a book called Conversations Worth Having, which is about how to make sure that your conversations help to support your resilience, your capacity to do well in very difficult times, and in general to thrive anywhere, anytime, and in any situation. And we thought this particular time in history with COVID-19 kind of creating havoc in our whole country, and with the healthcare providers who are in the middle of the crisis, how could Conversations Worth Having actually support the frontline workers and our first responders? And so Dr. Warner is a physician and a leader. And if you haven't had a chance to listen to the first two videos or audios, encourage you to do so. She's shared words of wisdom already. But I'm going to turn this over and ask you, Elizabeth, what's one more situation that really would be helped by being able to bring the two practices of Conversations Worth Having to that situation?
Sure. I am humbled by my work as a leader and trying to understand and interpret what's happening in my organization. One of the challenges that we have is having enough personal protective equipment for the people who have frontline contact with our patients. And a lot of information funnels right up to me. So I feel like I'm managing a lot of things at a higher level, just because everyone's sort of in this heightened and urgent and highly worried emotional state. So I got some information regarding a staff member who incorrectly was using the personal protective equipment that he was given. And I didn't do my best. I was a little tired. I was a little irritated. It was the afternoon on a Friday, and I got hot. I got pretty frustrated. My colleague who's the operational leader alongside me, as medical director, walked in at that time, and she's like, "Are you okay?" And I said, "Oh, let me tell you this story." And I told the story of this staff member who misused precious PPE. So that's the story I was telling. And to my colleague's credit, she took a breath and then she said, "Hey, when I get in these situations, sometimes the story that I get, the firsthand, isn't actually at all what really happened. So you might find it helpful to take a breath or two and take a little time just to try and unravel and understand what actually happened. It might not be the contextually accurate with this email and with the story that I was already generating and spinning with." And that was so helpful. Oh my gosh, that was so helpful. And I did take some breaths and I did ask, wait a minute, why would the staff member use PPE in this way? And so when I explored the question that way, I found out a whole lot more information. And I actually found out that my leadership had failed to accurately inform and define how to use the PPE. So instead of continuing the story around this person, quote, did it wrong and they're being wasteful, having that clarification and that friendly support from my colleague to help me consider seeing it another way allowed me to see a gap, but the gap was actually mine. And so we could do something better to help all folks in our organization use the personal protective equipment better and correctly.
That's a wonderful story. And once again, Elizabeth has taught us this time what a generative question is. And a generative question is one that changes the way you thought, Elizabeth. You were curious And it also changed the image of what was possible in this conversation so that you were connecting and open. And it probably impacted your well-being and the well-being of the person you had to have the conversation with.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And allowed me to get open in a way that I certainly wasn't at first blush or at first mention of the story. And that was, I needed help. I needed help to get there.
And I think at this time, we all need help, but especially the people that are working 12-hour shifts, probably not sleeping well, huge demands. The stress on the front line is phenomenal. And we all can appreciate what happens when we get under stress. So being able to do what your colleague did to support your colleagues when you when they come to you to vent, and helping them get to a place where they can open to possibilities. I would imagine also, just a quick question, did it shift your own personal stress? I mean, how did that shift when your colleague just asked that kind of simple question? What was the internal response for you?
Well, I felt like I immediately shed 10 pounds off my shoulders. Like, I didn't have to know it all. I couldn't know it all, but I can't know it all. But at that moment, it was like, wait a minute, I can't carry all this myself. And by carrying it, you're gonna get it wrong, right? You're actually you're gonna make misinterpretations, or you're gonna tell stories like the one that I very quickly generated. So it was relieving, and it actually really reinforced for me that spirit of different stakeholders being able to see things differently, and therefore get a better view or a more global view of whatever challenge we're looking at. In this case, it was how do we effectively deploy and teach and reinforce the effective use of PPE. Very different than obviously where I started it.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was a lightning, I guess would be to say it.
Yeah.
And then also feeling like we would have better solutions if we worked together and collaboratively than if I tried to figure it out as the quote formal leader of this situation.
Yeah, really nice. Great insights and great lessons from just that simple little practice again. So just to remind you, the two practices are generative questions, which, as Jackie said, they change the way you think, or they help other people change the way they are thinking. They create different images and the potential for different stories. And the second is positive framing, to focus on what you want instead of what you don't want. Please visit our website. We've got a free toolkit that you can download, and our website is conversationsworthhaving.today. And you can find the rest of the videos and more videos on our material in our YouTube channel, which is Conversations Worth Having. Again, thank you so much for all that you are doing in the world.
And Elizabeth, we applaud you, the healthcare workers, the first responders, everybody in such a difficult time, the grace, the way you're approaching conversations out there, it makes a difference. Thank you.
Thank you. I feel incredibly human and incredibly vulnerable in this work, and I get it wrong a whole lot more than I get it right. But I hope that this helps encourage others to know that showing up, getting it wrong, getting the chance to try and get it a little bit righter is part of our work for being human, and certainly part of the work that we have the privilege of doing in the healthcare profession. So thank you all.
Thank you.